You're listening to How I Met Your Monster, a podcast that explores the introductions to your favorite movie monsters. My name's Zach.
I'm Danny.
And I'm Casey.
And together we dive into the world of horror to find out how filmmakers have introduced us to our favorite monsters time and time again. This is How I Met Your Monster.
Boss, you opened it. We came.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left.
Explorers in the further regions of experience. Demons to some, angels to others.
Call you meatloaf. Surprise, Sydney.
Hello and welcome to How I Met Your Monster, the show where we discuss the introductions to your favorite movie monsters. I'm Zach.
I'm Danny.
And I'm Casey.
And today we're going back in time. Where's Marty? Where's Marty McFly? We need the DeLorean.
The Old West.
Oh, good call.
That's the sequel.
Now, how far ago? When
How far
in the
ago?
Old West was that? Like 1900?
Must have been the late 1800s, maybe?
Late 1800s, early 1900s, yeah.
Okay, so this is the 1700s.
Which would make for a pretty cool Predator movie.
Right? Cowboys versus Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they keep moving through time.
Well, I keep seeing that on Twitter. People are like, what's going to be the next spinoff? You know, it's basically just like Blink versus Predator. So the sky's the limit.
Well, they're still just people.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I would like a direct sequel to this one.
Now, did you both watch the credits?
Yes.
So they well, I guess, I don't know. Would you say they set up a sequel, or are they just doing like a Predator 2 type
I
thing?
think it just depends on how
Well,
they're feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, not to jump too far into it, I'm assuming everyone listening to this has seen the Predator movie.
Guys, the end of the movie.
But they do set it up a little bit where there is going to be another encounter with the Predator before the credits when you see that gun that they have, because that gun was in the trophy room in Predator 2.
That's
when
right.
Danny Glover gets in the spaceship.
Do you know that
Yeah.
I literally didn't put that together? And when I just mentioned Predator 2, I was just thinking about how at the end of Predator 2, the spaceship comes down and they're basically like, cool, you won. Later.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I never
Nope.
put that pistol connection together. So that's deeply satisfying.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I mean,
is really
it's
cool.
exciting. But I do like that that end credit sequence with all the animation.
The cave drawings.
Cave drawings, yeah, basically just replaying the whole story, but then there's that little bit extra at the end, which is fun.
Yeah.
It's actually very helpful when I was taking notes, because usually when we watch movies for the podcast, I'm like, you know, like basically just staring at my phone the whole time. And this one, I'd never seen it. So I was like, I kind of don't want to look at my phone. And I watched it on the Comanche dub. So like I couldn't, it's not like I could just listen, but that was like a nice little refresh. I was like, oh yeah, that okay, got it. Timeline.
Casey, did you watch it in Comanche?
No, I hate dubbed movies. If it would have been filmed in that language and then I could watch it subtitled, that would have been great. But I can't watch dubbed things.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to feel that, but I totally get
No,
that.
yeah.
I'm with you there.
I can understand.
There are apparently a few scenes or a few lines that were filmed in Comanche.
Well, yeah, there's a few moments where, like, in the subtitles, it'll say in Comanche. I'm like, no, I know.
Oh.
I'm watching it
I know.
Comanche.
I'm watching it. Yeah. The weekend it came out, I watched it in Comanche. And then 2 nights ago, I rewatched it again. But I watched it with Nina the second time, and she wanted to watch it in Comanche as well. So we watched it again. So I have not seen the English version, but apparently, like a lot of people online I've been reading, they say it's like weird to see these natives speaking just like modern English.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
They
the
said
thing about the movie.
there was like something off.
Yeah, but that's just how movies are. A lot of movies that are filmed that are, you know, American made movies, no matter when it takes place or what.
I understand.
Well,
Yeah.
have you both seen the movie Valkyrie with Tom Cruise?
No.
I am sorry, but I cannot watch anything with Tom Cruise besides Risky Business.
Well, it's actually a sequel to Risky Business.
Oh, is
There you
it?
go.
Okay,
No,
yeah,
no.
sounds like it. Valkyrie, yeah.
No, it starts off because he's supposed to be playing a German soldier during World War II, and the movie starts off where they're all speaking German, and then like I forget how they do it, if it's like a kind of a quick shift or if they like blend into it, but you kind of see them go from German to English, and then the rest of the movie's in English. And I'm like, no, I get
Interesting.
it. Like it's friggin', but
Yeah.
Well,
Well-
answer me this. In the Comanche dub, the French subtitles are in French.
Yes, they speak French in the movie too.
So,
That's what
Which
I
was funny to me.
I was gonna ask that. I was
Yeah.
like, is this like a goof on watching it in this version where like it's actually supposed to be English, but because you're doing that, it's kind of confusing itself, or is it just supposed
Right.
to
No.
be French?
Right. I watched it and I saw the French subtitles and I was like, what is going on? And then I was kind of like, well, I guess you don't really need to know what the French are like. You kind of get it. So, okay. So it's not even,
Yeah, especially from their,
even in the English version, there it's just French.
and like
okay.
you said, like from the perspective that we're supposed to be watching the movie, they're supposed to be outsiders, so we're not supposed to know what
Right.
they're saying anyways. So that's smart.
Yeah.
I had my Duolingo app open the whole time, like, what? Google Translate. I was like, wait, talking too fast.
They're like, the one guy's like, no. And Danny's like, hold on a second.
I'm like, that's
Hold on,
gotta,
what
he's
is-
gotta
No,
be
no,
saying
no,
yes, but let me just confirm.
Well, I'm excited to get into Prey because this was, I just loved it. Overall, what was your opinion?
I would argue that this might be my favorite Predator movie,
Me too.
which is like, okay, thank you. Okay, I wasn't sure where I stood there.
I do have a confession to make that I realized is that I've only ever seen the original Predator movie and this movie.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, two solid movies, to be fair.
But the reason that I never watched any of the other ones was because people said that, well, don't waste your time watching them. So I didn't.
I would,
I don't like that.
yeah, I would argue
I don't like
against
that.
them hardcore, because my top three now would be Prey. My number two would be Predators, the Adrian Brody one that was like 2011
Adrian
or
Brody?
something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is going to come as a shocker, but Alien versus Predator is my number three movie.
Okay.
I love
Okay.
the original Predator. It's not like, I am not poo-pooing that one whatsoever. But after doing a rewatch with Jimmy, I think like last summer, maybe last fall, I was like, wait, Alien versus Predator is such a fun movie. There is no fat on that
Okay,
movie
yeah.
whatsoever. And it's silly, but it's like fun, silly.
Yeah. I love Predators with Adrian Brody and
It's
Lawrence
great.
Fishburne.
Well, I didn't even know it existed. So
I
It's
think you
cool.
dig
It's
it.
almost, it has like a very strong vibe of Predator 1
Yeah.
with like a kind of twisted storyline.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's really cool. But I was watching this and like I saw it, and then online people are like, oh my God, like next to the original, this is the best one. Like this is definitely my number 2 favorite thing, but like nothing tops Predator 1. And it's kind of like, as we talked about before, the nostalgia factor.
Yeah.
It's a good movie, but if you like look at it like if you go back and look at it like without the you know,
Visor of
that
nostalgia.
visor, it's like it's nothing special.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, it introduced the Predator, so it has like that.
Well, it's a
that,
great
like,
concept. It's like you're watching basically Commando, and then halfway through, it's like, no, it's a monster movie. Like, okay,
Yeah.
great, love that, really fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I would argue that the great benefit of the sequels, or what they do so well, is that where some sequels tend to sort of water down the original one, these sequels, for the most part, kind of build on it and are like, wait, there's so much more to play with. Let's really kind of like stretch our limbs a little bit. Let's see what we can do with the source material. And obviously it's like subjective as to whether or not it's better, but I think they definitely, they don't waste the opportunity. Essentially, they really like, they use all of what they have, and they I don't know. What am I saying? What is like the best way to say what I'm trying to say? They kick ass, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
They kick ass.
They kick some ass.
Yeah.
So the first time I saw Predator, I was like 18 and had just moved to Florida. And my friend Andy that I moved with had, I don't know if it was the DVD or the tape, but we would always chuckle because the back of it said, Predator is unlike anything you've seen on this earth because he is not from this earth. And for some reason, we just always thought that was really fucking stupid. But we love the movie. But yeah, I do remember liking, I do love that movie. But yes.
Oh, I mean, and don't get me wrong, it's great and I love it and it's fun. But just like looking back on it and trying to say like, oh, nothing tops Predator 1, it's kind of like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we wouldn't be here without Predator 1, obviously,
Right.
but I don't know. And there was so many cool like throwbacks to Predator 1 in this movie.
Yeah, that didn't even turn out the way you thought they would.
Yes.
Totally. And yeah, they
Right.
didn't feel cheap or shoehorned. It just felt like, it was like a clever little build on that.
I liked that it wasn't the same.
Right.
You know, I liked
Oh, yeah.
that they turned the things around so that it wasn't quite the same.
Oh, yeah. Some of it was a total shock to me. I was like, what? Are you
What's
kidding me?
funny is after I watched it, Cody and I were watching Bob's Burgers because we always watch Bob's Burgers to go to bed. And we watched the Predator episode where they do like the spoof where it's the Predator. And they do the thing where like he like covers himself. It's not in mud. Whatever he uses in that, it's like cheese or something.
Yeah.
And Cody was like, do they do that in the new movie? I was like, no, they don't actually. They do kind of like a different spin on it. It's actually a little bit more clever the way that they do that. And it feels so organic and natural. It doesn't feel like they were like forcing it in. It's like, oh yeah, that character would do that to have the same basic effect of what Schwarzenegger does in the first one.
So good.
It is.
So before we get too far into the movie, as always, I want to hear about some stuff you guys watched over the last 2 weeks.
Who wants to go first?
So I watched a movie that I had always seen the poster in the video store when I was a kid, like the VHS box. Slaughterhouse Rock.
Oh.
Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Is that like Disney's Camp Rock?
No.
Schoolhouse Rock.
The poster has like Alcatraz at the bottom, and then there's like a demon head like
Oh,
at
so the Rock
top.
is Alcatraz.
Yes.
Okay, not like
But not
Schoolhouse Rock.
but not completely. It also is like a rock band.
Oh.
It is not a good movie, I will tell you that.
Okay.
Some of the effects are really cool, but the story and the acting is just like not so much the acting. Like the actors are okay,
Yeah.
but it's the dialogue. It's the things they're saying that you're just like, what?
I want to see this
I thought
poster.
you were going to say the opposite. You're like, the gore is great, but it's the story that really hooks you.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. The poster is really cool.
Yes, and the poster is awesome, and that's why I was like,
looking it up
I've
now.
always been curious about this movie ever since I was a kid, and it's on Shudder. I watched it, and to be honest, I didn't finish it.
Well, the soundtrack is by Devo.
Yes.
Wow.
Devo.
Okay.
Man, that is a cool poster. What a shame.
Is this the one with
Yeah.
the floating head over Alcatraz?
Yeah, but it's not even really just like floating. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like your typical floating head poster.
Radiating
Yeah,
out
it's
of
got
it.
like the ghost kind of trails.
Almost like a little like sperm, like with the little tail
Yeah,
on
just
the
like
bottom.
a little sperm coming out
it's
of
a sperm.
Alcatraz.
Really big
but-
sperm
Yeah,
above
with big
Alcatraz.
teeth. It's a
Scary.
toothy sperm.
Ew. But I also I watched the first 5 minutes and did not finish this. Did you guys know American Horror Story has like an anthology series?
Yes,
I'm not a fan of that show.
but I haven't watched it.
Okay. Yeah. I've watched season 1 of American Horror Story.
Okay.
But they have this new anthology series. There's like 2 seasons and just each story is different. And so I was like, okay, it's on Hulu.
Each episode is different?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. They're like
instead
an
of a
hour
season.
long, or like 40 minutes or 50 minutes long.
Okay.
I saw someone on the internet said, what's more disturbing, Human Centipede or American Horror Stories Milkmaids. And so I was like, okay, let's see what this whole Milkmaids thing is all about. Oh my God. I got 5 minutes in and I was just a hard pass. I was like, nope, click. There's like, it starts out with this lady with like sores and like pussy sores all over her face. And it's like some kind of like disease. I guess it's smallpox. She says it's smallpox. So like everyone's dying, and this guy, this like stranger, goes to this prostitute's house, and he like gives her the money, and they start going to town. And she's like, okay, like here's what you're here for. And she pulls down her shirt, and she's got like these sores all over her. Right. Okay. And he like jumps up. He's like, what are you doing? And she's like, this is what you're here for, right? I'm supposed to be like this special person that people are like, if you taste me, oh my God, it makes you immune to smallpox and you're good. All you got to do is take one lick. And she proceeds to squeeze one. And like all this fucking pus comes out. And that's where I was like, nope.
Honey, go get a vaccine.
That's free. In the first 5 minutes. Like, what are the other 45 minutes going to be like?
It must be delightful.
It's just him describing the taste and texture. He's like, well, it's a bit of a chalky, milky taste, but it's like tapioca
so fucking
pudding.
Gross. Ew. Okay, so that's what I watched / didn't watch. What about you guys?
Good Lord, Zach.
I watched...
You just set the bar at a very confusing place.
Danny's he didn't like either of the things that he watched.
Danny's like, I want Scooby-Doo to go to bed.
No, it's Bob's Burgers, Zach. How dare you?
Sometimes the Scoob comes in.
Okay. I watched a movie that was actually recommended by our listener, Zane.
Oh, yay.
Oh, okay.
So I watched a movie called The Stylist.
Ooh. What'd you think? And also,
do you know what it is?
No.
Okay.
No, do tell.
It was a short that was turned into a feature. And it's just about a deranged hairdresser.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good. I really liked the end. Not that it was necessarily a Casey ending, okay? It just had a good ending. Okay? I don't want to spoil it for you.
Fucking live in the end. God damn it.
But,
well, we all know the ending now.
No, that's why I said it's not necessarily that it's a Casey ending. It's just cool.
Okay.
I can't really say much about it because you guys haven't seen it, but
yeah.
Like usually with a slasher, this isn't necessarily a slasher, but like it doesn't really show how like unhinged people are. You know what I mean? Like in horror movies. So in this movie, like you really see her like mental, like it shows her mental turmoil. Mm-hmm. You don't normally get to see that, so I thought that was cool.
And does she use her hair equipment to kill?
I mean, do you want me to just tell you?
Oh.
Ooh. Based off that reaction, I may want to wait. I don't know.
Well, I just saw a picture on IMDb, and I think I know what she does. But I have seen this poster before.
Yeah.
Oh, it's newer, 2020.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess you can kind of tell by the poster what she does too.
Yeah, I didn't look at it, but.
Okay, so it was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Okay.
Nice. Well, thanks, Zane.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Zane. 3 cheers for Zane.
Hip, 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 hooray. Hip, 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 hooray. Hip, hip, hooray.
Okay, this is getting weird, guys.
Danny, what about you?
Well, I just watched the new little kind of Gen Z slasher whodunit comedy, Bodies, 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 which was very fun. Yeah, I'm sure anyone listening is familiar with it. I feel like ads are sort of everywhere. But if you're not familiar, it's about a group of kind of basically just rich kids who spend the night in this huge mansion while one of their parents are away. And you're basically just seeing sort of what appears to be kind of run-of-the-mill kind of young drama, basically. You know, like oh, he's dating her, but she hates him. That kind of like that, like squabbling sort of stuff. But then they decide to play this game called Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It basically is a game where you turn out all the lights and one person draws a card, and that person is the quote unquote killer. And they have to basically just like tap someone on the back. And when they do, the person falls down dead, yells bodies, bodies, bodies. They turn the lights on and they have to figure out who the killer is. But in this case, there actually is a real killer. And they have to figure out who the killer is and why over the course of this night. But where you know, it is sort of like that basic kind of Agatha Christie setup.
It's like a Gen Z Clue.
100%. It is Gen Z Clue. And it's like so irritating listening to some of the characters talk and argue.
Oh my gosh.
But it's done in a way that's like very tongue in cheek. So they're using, if you watch the trailer, it basically kind of highlights like all like those like key words of like, you know, like, they're like, you're silencing me, or, you know, like you're so toxic, or, you know, things like that, which are totally like, you know, those are real things that are not okay behaviors, but the way that they're sort of played with here is done for laughs, and it's really funny.
Is Pete Davidson Gen Z?
Yeah, and he's really funny in it.
But like, is he Gen Z?
I don't think so. Well, also, I mean,
what age is?
No,
I
he's
think that I'm on the
totally. He's got to be a millennial.
I'm on the tail end of being a millennial, and like he's only like 28.
Oh, really?
Oh,
what is? What would be the? What is the difference in years?
Yes, he is 28. Look at me. Hold on.
Gen Z is anyone born between 1997 and 2012.
Oh, so I guess he's not technically Gen Z. He just missed the mark by a couple years.
Yeah, so millennials are anyone born between 1981 and 1996.
Oh, okay. Well, I just learned something.
He plays. I'm sure that he just plays a Gen Z. He's just probably supposed to be 22.
That's a good question. I guess he is supposed to be their age, but there is the actor Lee Pace who's in the movie, who's also in it, but he's like supposed to be the kind of awkward older rich dude who's like with these young kids for some reason. It's like really cringy. But it was really funny. It's surprisingly very dark, but in a way that it's like a dark comedy. So you get like these like really horrific moments, but they're kind of played for laughs. But yeah, I totally recommend it. I could watch that again. It's a really quick watch, like 130 minutes, an hour, 30 minutes. It's just over 2 hours. But yeah, I saw that. And then Jimmy and I finished our Amityville horror franchise rewatch, and we watched Amityville's 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 10 and 11.
You watched all of those?
Yeah. The last
and Danny,
yeah.
I know last episode I told you to watch It's About Time and Dollhouse. Mm-hmm. I want to hear your ranking.
So
your definitive ranking.
So my top 4 is number 1 spot is Amityville 3D.
Who does that? Wait, no, just stop. Just stop for a second. Who does that?
What?
It's either your top 3 or your top 5. Why would you say your top 4?
Probably because you know the 2 movies that you suggested are 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's why.
Right. Okay.
But I will. Okay. Here's my top 5 to appease the listeners and to fit in with the status quo. Here's my top 5. I could do top 3, but it would not include one of your favorites. My number 1 is Amityville 3D, a fantastic, super fun movie, which I have recently learned is considered to be a fan opposite of favorite. People hate this movie. I don't know why.
Okay.
It's so good. Number 2, I have the remake, a great horror movie. Okay. I know remakes get shat upon, but it is good. Mm-hmm. Number 3, I have Amityville Dollhouse. A very problematic movie, but very fun. I don't understand it. Why is the house haunted? There's so much setup, no payoff. I don't care. It was great. Also, Calabar from Halloween Town 1 and 2 is the dad, and he's wonderful. And then number 4, I have Amityville, It's About Time. Lovely movie. The dad, speaking of a dad, it's the dad from the Monster Squad.
From the Monster Squad.
Again,
There's always a dad.
A movie that doesn't make sense and doesn't quite totally pay off its promise of playing with time until like the last 15 minutes, but I still loved it.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. Have you seen it?
No, it's just interesting that how many are there? 11?
Well, we watched 11, but I'm sure there's more. I think there's 11 canonically.
I think it's funny that out of the 11 that you watched, 3 and 4 made absolutely no sense, but they were still number 3 and 4 somehow.
They made more sense.
So
than
the rest of them must be wow.
Well, I mean, all right. I'm going to do a very quick, like mini review, going from like least favorite to favorite. Amityville Curse. I don't get it. Number 10 spot. Evil Escapes. What? Number 9, Murders. Really good until the end when they showed real footage and they reminded you that you're like watching a fictionalized story of like real deaths. And I was like, oh, no, this is too real.
Okay.
That sounds awesome.
Awakening, a fun concept that they didn't really deliver upon. They kind of did this thing where it's like we're living within the world of the Amityville horror. It's confusing. Anyways, 7, A New Generation. I didn't really get it.
Is that the mirror one?
Yeah. I love the mirror.
Yeah.
I didn't like how they tied it back to things. It didn't make any sense. Why were they in LA? I don't know. 6, Possession. Zach, I know you love that one. It is very fun. The incest really just kind of like left a bad taste in my mouth.
And I think maybe that's why I was so like drawn to it, is because I was so surprised. I was like, are you
surprising?
Like, what?
Yeah.
And then like you said, it takes a whole other turn, and then I did like the special effects. But I think that was part of it. Was it was like
it's a shocker.
Not what I was expecting at all.
And that's the thing. What I'll get off the Amityville train soon, I promise, and we can get into Prey. What I did appreciate about Possession is it was where the first Amityville horror is a little slow. This one's like, boom, we are just going to jump right into it. We're basically going to feel a little poltergeisty and just kind of go guns a-blazing. Where it lost me was I didn't realize it was a prequel because they changed the DeFeo name to something else, so it just kind of threw me off. You do kind of lose it in the last half of the movie. Even though it is fun, it kind of becomes something else, and then that weird brother-sister thing, which, like, sure, be weird, be, your horror movie, be dark, but they just kind of, they leaned in a little too much. I was like, oh, we're just going to watch this happen.
Yeah.
And then number 5, I have the original Amityville Horror, which is fun but slow.
Okay.
That's
welcome to
review.
How I Met Your Amityville.
Yeah,
I'm so
sorry. I just feel like once I started, I had to just like, this has been a journey getting through Amityville, so I needed to just like close that chapter on this.
Well, I mean, you didn't talk about Amityville in space. You didn't talk about Amityville Island. You didn't talk about Amityville in the Hood. You didn't talk about the Amityville vibrator.
In the Hood? Wait, is Amityville in the Hood real?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Wow, they really, wow.
And that poster I sent you guys today for Amityville Vibrator.
Yeah.
The budget for that movie as per IMDb was like $2,500.
No. That's the cost of a vibrator.
Right?
If you get a good one, yeah.
That's a good vibrator.
If you look at the stills on IMDb, it's like, they look like Facebook photos. Like, it's just like somebody.
I clicked on it because it said
God.
IMDb, and I clicked on it, but it took me to something else.
Oh, really?
So I'll have to look that back up.
Probably possessed you with this franchise.
Well, no, it was funny because
anything.
I was looking at distributors for our documentary we just made. And I was clicking on, I clicked on, I think they were called like Vision Films or something. And I saw like all these like B movies, and I clicked on one called like Real Monsters. And it was like a kid's movie about like these people that make a movie, and there's like a Sasquatch thing. And I was thinking like, people like make a living making these kind of movies, right? So I clicked it. I looked it up on IMDb, Real Monsters. And wouldn't you know, it's from the guy who directed Amityville in Space, which You guys saw that trailer.
Yeah, you sent it to
It
us
was
the
good,
other
yeah.
day.
Oh my God. How bizarre is that I clicked on that
That's
one
so
and it was
funny.
like the guy who did Amityville.
Amityville vibrator.
So is it actually a porno?
I have no idea.
I think it might be. It must be. These
I have
girls
no
are
idea.
definitely dressed like they're gonna fuck.
There's got to be like a porn spin, like the Amityville horny.
Oh,
Hornier. Horror.
Sorry,
hornier.
guys.
Amityville.
For sure. A
Oh,
porn.
it's porn. She's
She is
playing
indeed.
with herself.
Oh, there is horror though. There's blood and guts in it. That's cool. I might check that out.
Oh God.
He's like, I'm in. Danny, you sold me. I'm on the Amityville train. Oh my God, that's
gosh.
funny. Okay, I should say, I know I just kind of did like that little mini review of the Amityville franchise, and some of it kind of skewed negative. They're fun movies. I'm not going to shit on it. Movies are hard to make,
Yeah.
but overall fun, and I'm glad I watched them. And I'm glad you guys pushed me to watch the other sequels that we almost kind of glossed over.
Oh, good. Good. Okay. Are you guys ready to meet our monster?
Let's freaking do it.
All right,
Let's do
let's
it.
go. Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking
Let's fucking do it.
yeah.
Let's fucking do it.
Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, have a seat, please. This is when we meet our monster. No, it's actually really cool because this portion of the movie, within like the first 10, 15 minutes of following this Comanche tribe, basically just kind of doing their thing. And then all of a sudden there's a freaking like sci-fi spaceship just like cutting through the clouds. And then we get this amazing shot, which I love that they weren't pulling any punches, because they could have gone the route of we're totally in Naru's POV, where she's just seeing these things that are sort of like off. But we are seeing we are introduced to the predator, because we'll see later, we are kind of seeing like the back and forths of how they are on a similar journey.
Right.
But before we get into that, the first time we actually meet the predator is the ship basically drops him off on some cliff, and he's invisible. And yet in predator fashion, classic predator fashion, you still see that like the silhouette and some of the invisible details. And it's just like this beautiful shot. He's like center frame, just staring out into this vast landscape on Earth, ready to hunt. And it is, it's just like the rest of the movie, quiet but epic, and I loved it.
Agreed. And it was cool because the ship comes in and then it just flies away,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay.
like, bang.
But then he like stands up. He like comes into frame
Yes.
with his
That's right.
invisibility, and yeah,
That's right.
awesome. There was so much love put into this movie. You could just tell it wasn't just like someone like was hired to direct and they phoned it in to do another Predator movie. There was so much research and care taken to make sure that all of this stuff was accurate.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And all of the Native Americans were Native Americans, which was cool.
Absolutely. So I just thought that was just wonderful.
Have you guys seen 10 Cloverfield Lane?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Same
liked that
director.
one.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I was a big fan. It's funny. I love movies like that where like they can totally stand on their own, but then they have that extra element, that little twist that just makes it that much more memorable.
Oh my gosh.
And they pull it off so
That
well.
movie's so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he crazy? Is he right? He's both.
I know. Yeah, he's both. I was going to say, I was like, oh yeah, it kind of is like you kind of get both of that. But yeah, so that was from Dan Trachtenberg,
Yes.
who did Prey, 10 Cloverfield Lane.
He did a Black Mirror episode, but
Okay.
I'm not sure which one.
Okay.
That show's coming back and I'm so excited.
Oh, that's
I
exciting.
don't think I've watched past like season 3. Like after Netflix got it, I don't think I watched it. But
Apparently, he's
All right.
attached to direct a Waterworld series.
Ooh,
That's
really?
freaking exciting.
Dry Land is not a movie.
I've seen
I have
it.
seen it.
I like Waterworld.
What I love about having him a part of a franchise like that is he clearly is very adept at taking a very like high concept story, but making it feel super grounded.
Right.
Because you can argue Waterworld is like memorable as it is. It is very like niche. It's very 90s, you know?
Yeah.
So that to have someone like that with that sort of eye for detail, like you're saying, like it's just like it's like the authenticity that grounds you in the world. So then you can introduce something like a Predator and it's like, okay, I buy it. And I think that would totally work with something like Waterworld. So
Yeah,
I think so.
cool.
I think that's smart. I was say casting, but he's not an actor. Smart hiring.
Smart hiring.
Good job, studio.
So clearly the Predator brings all kinds of technology with him as he drops down to Earth. Mm-hmm. I loved, of course, just like the contrast between Native Americans and like futuristic technology is just like crazy. But I would always forget because like the landscape scenes were so beautiful and like they did such a good job of just like capturing that spirit of that time. And then like all of a sudden there'd be like a spaceship comes in or like, you know, he does something crazy with his little thing that he swings open and cuts the chains off with. And it was just like, what? I don't know. I just like, it would pull me back in every time. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool.
Oh, I love it. It feels like it's past meets future, but it's not because it's like of that time. It just is from a different world. So it feels like a, like, what is the word? Like an anachronism, but it's not because it's actually of that time, but it's just of a time that we're not familiar with.
Yeah. I'm going to pretend that I know what it is. I'm going to pretend that I know what an anachronism is, and I'm just going to say you're absolutely right.
Absolutely, Danny.
Anachronism is something of a different time, is it not? Belonging, anachronistic, belonging to a period other than that being portrayed.
Yes, you are correct in what you said. So it makes sense now.
Okay.
Yeah, very good.
Okay.
Nice. Smart man.
Good job.
Smart man.
Smart man. Smart man, that Danny.
Just got that from Doctor Who.
While I was watching it, I definitely was thinking a lot about like how fucking crazy. How fucking crazy. No, just thinking about being a Native American and seeing that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
That's fucking wild.
Well, like even when she picks up when she first finds the bear trap, when her dog's tail gets stuck in it, and like she's like sees this metal thing and she's like examining it, being like, what is this? Like these chains and everything. It's just like, what?
Yeah, she's almost like kind of being like eased into something that is totally foreign to her, like what she's familiar with. But then like that's not even close to what she's about to see. It's like you think that's crazy, just wait.
Yeah, real weird.
I love that. Yep. But I do love, like, there was part of me that was like, I would 100% watch this movie even if the sci-fi elements and the Predator elements weren't there. I just kind of want to follow this character.
Naru, yeah. And Tabe.
And then the dog, Sari. Oh, which there's all these articles popping up that the dog was a rescue dog. So like, he has this like second life as a movie star. Oh my God, such a good job.
And so well behaved. He did such a good job. But he was so cute.
You know, speaking of like, you were like, I would watch this even if it wasn't like a Predator movie, if it was just like a thing. Like, I love that about this movie, that it's called Prey, right? But it's just like about the food chain. Yeah. Basically. Like there's so many more elements to it than just the predator attacking, you know, it's
well, yeah. I mean, he
person
basically
against
watches...
person. It's the, you know, the ant and the rabbit and the snake and the wolf and the this and that.
Yeah. Like the predator could have just as easily, like there's literally that whole sequence where they're fighting the mountain lion. It could have just been that movie where like she has like her whole like hunting trial that her brother puts her through. Could have just been that, but like it just benefited the movie, obviously, to like, oh, we're going to elevate it even more. But it's like, you didn't have to if you didn't want to. And it still would have been a really captivating movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It was really weird because I don't like normally get feelings like this when I watch movies.
I don't feel a thing.
I don't feel anything. No, but like when they were in the tree waiting for that mountain lion.
Oh yeah.
When it snatched that guy, my heart like started beating really, really fast.
Oh yeah.
And that doesn't happen. Yeah, that doesn't ever happen to me, except for it did later in the bear scene. But that's only the.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're deeply afraid of bears.
I'm terrified of bears.
Oh, I didn't even think of that while I was watching this.
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to just take over that whole sequence. I want to know your thoughts on that.
I watched the whole thing. I didn't turn away from it. I could tell that it was CG, so it wasn't like that intense for me. But I definitely like winced every time the bear, like when he was trying to get into the dam that she was in and stuff like that. But yeah, then it was really cool because Predator killed it. So.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You're like,
she's like, they killed the wildlife, and I'm just really happy about that.
And like the bear, the mountain lion looked really good. The bear, like the CG, you could like really tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't even care.
That's just me being picky. Yeah. Oh, I didn't care
it was
either.
just like, okay, there's a CG bear, but like it didn't take me out of it at all.
No,
Like, I was,
absolutely not.
just because the storytelling was so strong.
100%. Isn't it crazy how like easy it is to forgive things like that when a movie or story or a book, or well, I guess it only works with movies in this case, but like it just works.
Can't you always forgive the CGI in books? Like
It's usually pretty bad.
The CG in the
'Cause it
original
doesn't exist.
Tolkien Lord of the Rings books, shit. They're terrible. It took me out.
I'm really excited for Rings of Power. I'm just going to tell you guys right now.
is that the Amazon show?
Are
Yes.
you more excited about Rings of Power or House of the Dragon?
Rings of Power.
Okay, interesting.
I love Game of Thrones, but Lord of the Rings is my favorite thing on the planet.
Okay, interesting.
So,
all right.
yeah. You're more excited for House of the Dragon.
I am, and I couldn't tell you why, because I also love Lord of the Rings so much. And if I had to like compare my excitement for the two series, it would be like just little bit of space. There's just a little bit of space in between. It's basically the same, but I gotta edge it out a little bit for House of the Dragon.
Yeah, I'm pretty fucking excited.
Me too.
But sorry, didn't mean to derail us there.
Zach, which one are you more excited about?
He doesn't care about it.
He's like, Prey. Can we get back to Prey?
Wait, name them again. Tell me the names again.
Rings of Power and House of the Dragon.
I'm excited for Rings of the Dragon.
Ooh, it's just like this dragon who's like, look at my bling.
Oh, look at it. I have so much money.
It's like, oh my God, this is so nice. Like, I know I'm a dragon.
It's a dragon, but he's actually Julia Roberts from Pretty Woman.
Huge mistake. I can be something of a dumbass sometimes. But they were like, they're being attacked by a lion. And I was like, there's no lions in North America. And then I saw the mountain lion. I was like, oh.
No, I guess there is a lion in North America.
I was say re-enlisting myself into elementary school, but that's not even the word for that.
It's not.
I peaked at anachronistic, and that's where I am in this podcast episode.
I'll be honest too. When they said lion, I was thinking like big mane, like African lion.
Yeah.
Well,
good Lord.
Yeah, and the food chain, what like goes along with all of the CGI animals in the movie. He's basically like watching to see what the food chain is, and then every time a creature gets a smaller creature, he kills that creature.
Yep. He goes for the bigger one. He's always going for the strongest.
There's always a bigger fish. To quote Qui-Gon.
But that scene with the wolf was awesome.
Yeah, it was. When he rips his fucking spine out.
Yeah, but like when the dog attacks him or the wolf attacks him, and then he turns around like he's going back, like, and you think like, oh, the wolf survived that little encounter, and then he just like falls down.
His intestines just fall. It was so tragic, but also cool. And I'm like, wow, what am I supposed to feel?
It's just like we were talking about months ago with like in the 90s and 2000s where people would get like cut in half and they wouldn't realize it for a second. And then they would just like slide apart.
Yeah.
The wolf's like, I'm going down in history. This is my moment. If I'm going to go, this is how I want to go.
But yeah, so it wasn't until the second viewing, and it's a shame because like they even say it in the movie, but I just didn't pick up on it. But the predator isn't going after her because he doesn't see her as a threat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like, I don't know why I didn't pick up on that the first time, but the second time was like, oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. Because she keeps stalling every time, even with the mountain lion and everything else, you know?
Yep.
But I do love that she is, you know, very much an active protagonist in the sense that I feel like the easy route she could have taken, especially since she kind of picks up on how the predator sort of hunts, she could have just been like, oh, like, don't equip myself with weapons, hide, you know, but she doesn't. She's like always like, bring it on, bitch. Like, I'm going to take you. Which I feel like in the first half, it starts as being a little reckless, but then by the second half, it's like, no, I'm satisfying my journey of, I think it was her mom who says something like, we're not just doing this to hunt, we're doing this to survive.
Yeah.
Once she realizes like what the stakes really are, you see how that kind of plays into how she ultimately fights. She's not fighting the predator. Like by the end, when she defeats the predator, it's not just like about fighting. It's about outsmarting. It's like, I need to, I'm not going to defeat you to get clout. I'm going to defeat you because I have to, like whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
It is great.
Did anybody else jump when the skinned snake jumps back alive for a second?
That was the one real like true jump scare.
Me too. I was like,
Nope.
but let's talk about the predator himself for a minute. He's got a new look, which is, I mean, I guess like an old look.
But it's the coolest look.
You think this is the coolest out of all of them?
Yeah, because even though I haven't seen the movies, before I started the show, I looked at all the pictures from the other movies.
Okay.
And it makes a huge difference that his little, would you call it hair?
I don't know.
Yeah, just like little dreadlock things.
Yeah.
Tentacle dreadlocks.
Tentacle hairs.
They go back instead of on the sides. Makes so much of a difference.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yes.
Because that was like, that's like the biggest thing I noticed was like the shape of his head, but I didn't like really hone in on those details.
It's because his little hair thingies weren't
makes
coming
so much sense.
down the sides. So I think it's cool.
I agree with you. Yeah, I love the look. It's funny. It's tough going into a sequel like this where you kind of have to digest, especially like a franchise that goes this long, because you're like, that's the Predator. So to like make a sequel this far along and do a design that's just a little different, but it's still like, oh yeah, that's the Predator. Even if, you know, its mask is like so drastically different. Like it's a skull mask, as opposed to.
Yes, I did like the bone mask.
Totally.
It was very cool. And even though he had a spaceship, he still wasn't wearing armor.
Yeah, because he's like, come at me, bro. I'm like ready to fight. I do like that they call the Predator out when he turns invisible and Tabe's like, cheater. And it's like, yeah, you're a fucking cheater. Like, you can't do that. That's some bullshit.
Yeah. He was such a great character, Tabe.
Yeah.
I really liked him.
Like sweet, but also a badass.
Yeah.
And that fight at the end with him was great.
Yeah. He wasn't like a bully big brother.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, the fight with Tabe and the Predator was really good. Super sad when it finished. Like, oh my God, terrible. But right before that, when Naru gets back to the trappers' camp to rescue Sari, the dog, that whole fight that she does is like one take. It's just like so choreographed, and like between her doing her moves and the camera movements, it's so
wild.
good.
Yeah. All of the fight scenes in this movie were pretty cool.
Also, like totally, obviously, like the fighting style is heightened a little bit because it's a movie, but the fact that it wasn't like so over the top, it still was grounded in like her reality of like what she could accomplish, and yet it was still so badass.
Yeah.
I love that because you could easily, I feel like, cheat if you've got a good like fight choreographer, and it's like make it the Matrix, but just,
there wasn't like kung fu or anything
exactly.
like that, you know. She wasn't like flying on harnesses and stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, except maybe when she jumped out of the tree, she probably was. But she's, you know, a human being can do that.
And that's what I love about this movie is you're mentioning Tabe's fight with the Predator when he kind of comes in on the horse and he's just like shooting the arrows. There's so many moments in this movie that are like so epic because it's such an intimate movie about like this, you know, like young girl basically like finding herself. But then you kind of like have these huge fight scenes. You have the scope, you know, like, which I guess really owes a lot to the cinematography and the score and everything. But that's another thing that I loved about this movie, and which is why I could see myself like returning to it to watch again, is because it does a great job balancing the sort of like intimate scale with the epic scale without cheating, I guess.
And going back to some of the Predators like technology, I love that they switched to like arrows basically, because like he hasn't developed like the little laser bullet rocket zappers.
Well, yeah, we were watching it. And Matt was like, "What do you say?" He's like, "Why doesn't he have the rockets?" I'm like, "Because it was 300 years ago." He's like, "Yeah, but he's got a spaceship." I'm like, "So what? They're still developing their technology. Shut the fuck up."
Well, and that's the thing too. Like I've seen people talk about, oh, like why are they changing his look again? Like it's ridiculous. They always change it. Well, yeah, because he's going to evolve into what you see in all the other Predator movies.
And there's also like we were talking about the movie Predators earlier. Like I almost gave away too much. But you do get like different looks, basically, of what the Predator
Well, yeah, I
could
mean,
look
like people, we all look different.
Exactly. We're all like, you know, we're human, but you could look drastically different from someone else. And they do that. They do such a good job with that.
Right. And the shield that he has is cool.
Yeah. Was apparently inspired by God of War.
Oh, yeah?
I've never played it.
Which I wouldn't be surprised if her little tomahawk tied to a thing wasn't inspired by that too.
Oh, really?
That's how his weapons work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that she's constant. I mean, I don't love that people do this, but I love that for the movie's sake. Like she's constantly sort of teased or ridiculed for techniques that she takes or approaches she takes.
Fucking love bullies.
I love when like they just like tell her she's an idiot. No. But like it's clearly just like them just being like insecure because everything she's doing is correct, better, and just like more successful. Like her, they're like, oh, you have to put a leash on your axe or your weapon. It's like, no, I fucking made a better axe. It returns to me when I throw it, you idiot.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know like how much of that was CG and how much was real. I feel like it would be a mixture of the two. But when she's like tied up and the Predator's like attacking the other tribesmen and like she goes to like the dead body to get her weapon back and she does that cool, like she just like flips it up and then like comes down on it and like cuts her restraints at the same time. That was badass.
That is cool. Badass.
She looked like Aubrey Plaza.
Oh my God. All I could think about, it was just like Aubrey Plaza, like in that role.
So funny. If they ever do like a new sequel to Scary Movie, they need to do like a Prey thing and have Aubrey Plaza play her.
Just totally one note, monotone.
Just with her axe, like unable to use it quite as successfully as this character can. It's never quite working correctly.
So we briefly earlier talked about some of the original Predator throwbacks. The mud scene was intense.
Oh, God.
So like claustrophobic.
Maybe the scariest scene in the movie, I would argue.
Probably.
No, the bear.
There you go.
But when she pulls herself out of the mud and she leans up against that big broken tree, right? That was very Predator.
Right.
I was going to say, before we even get to that, I was going to be like, you're still too close to the mud. Get away from the mud. Like just a little bit further away.
Which, and obviously you thought that she was just going to leave the mud on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I thought the predator was going to come in there and not see her because of the mud. And like, that's the genius of this movie is that it's like, nope.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like
But
it works if you've never seen any Predator movies, but there's so many good payoffs if you have, even payoffs that aren't payoffs, because you don't get that. You get the opposite. You get the subversion.
And even like when they're tied to the tree, Naru and Tabe have their hands tied together around the tree, and there's all that like wind, and it's like the Predator French Trapper massacre scene, which was it reminded me very much of Halloween Kills with the firefighters.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just going to town, right?
Yeah.
But even that reminded me of Predators, the one we talked about with Adrian Brody. Just like the feel of that. There's like a scene in that kind of has that like gray wind with like shit going everywhere. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. They're not just throwing back to that. And you get like Predator 2 with the gun. You get Predators with that.
There's a Native American in the first Predator movie.
Yeah, I had heard people talk about like whether or not there was a direct reference to that character. And I don't know if it was one of the writers or someone, but they were like, oh, shit, we kind of missed that like reference.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah, they're like, damn it, that would have made sense.
That's funny.
He cuts himself in the same spot, too, that Tabe gets cut.
Oh, yeah, they cut him right across the chest. Yep.
Yeah.
God.
And he cuts himself, doesn't he?
No. Oh, in Predator, he cuts himself
Predator.
in the first one. Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Man, and there was so many good just like little moments comparing Naru and the Predator together. Like he gets fucked up after that. I think it's right after the Trapper massacre. And he's like fixing his leg. He's like sitting on a stump and he's fixing his leg. And then it just cuts to her fixing her leg where she got clamped by the trap. Yeah. And it was just like, they're just the same.
Yep.
They're the same.
One thing that I don't remember.
They're both on their trial to like
yes, they are.
Hunt.
In the original Predator, did his blood glow in the dark like that?
I think so.
I mean, it was like neon green. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't remember it being so bright, I guess. But
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the whole like them being on their own trial, the trailer actually kind of said it best, where it was like one of them hunts to live, the other lives to hunt. And I was like, oh yeah, that's the movie. Oh. Like literally, like you couldn't have said it better. Yeah. It's like, and that is, that makes such a captivating story with such interesting characters. It's so simple, but like you said, they're both on their, like they're on their trial.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get to the chopper.
There's another predator kind of thing to look at here, and it's kind of buried a little bit deeper, but like white men introducing guns to the native culture, Native Americans. That was like a thing where it's like they're a fucking predator themselves.
Yeah, just as dangerous.
And like teaching her how to shoot and everything. And
it's like that's all they have to offer is like they're there to hunt, kill, bring weapons, and then teach you how to use a weapon. It's like great.
Well, yeah, and then they hunt. They don't even use the stuff that they hunt and kill. They just killed all those buffalo and just left them there.
Yep. And they just took the hides to sell.
Yeah.
Yep.
What a great I don't know if you necessarily called it a twist, but I guess in my head I just wasn't. I mean, it makes sense that you would have these characters there, but I was just so
a great addition.
Yeah, because I was so focused on it just being about these characters versus the predator, but then to bring in this other element, it's like, oh wow, okay.
And even when you see the buffalo, you think that it's predator at that point.
Totally. But then you're like, well, why would the predator do that? Yeah.
She like picks up a cigar, and I was like, is that a cigar? Like what?
Yeah,
I didn't put it together. And then when they showed up, I was definitely surprised. I was like, oh shit. Okay.
Right. And that's also where the traps came from. But I also didn't think about that either.
Right.
I like how they set it up where they're almost kind of scarier than the predator, because the predator's there for a purpose in a way.
Yeah.
It's not there to just
and the white men are there to
out,
fucking take over the land.
Yeah, like there is a layer there that 100% is so much more terrifying and so much more like the lasting effect of it is so much more devastating.
Yeah.
Right. And on that note, I loved when they were like, they had them tied up to the tree and they were like watching them from a distance. And then all like the people were getting killed behind them, just like falling off their horses. And it was just so like kind of quiet and they just like fell off and it wasn't a big deal. That was a nice little touch. That was fun.
It was.
Then they see all the horses running away. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, one thing we didn't really talk about was that flower, that herb that she uses
orange
to
flower.
basically, to cool the blood.
Mm-hmm.
That was so cool. That was like one of my
Yes.
favorite parts of this, as like we were talking about the whole mud thing with Arnold in the first one, and then to like internalize it literally and introduce this like, but of course that's what this character would use because they would use their resources in that way, you know, like whatever's available to them. And they understand like the properties of these different, you know, plants and flowers and whatnot. I just love that was so fun. Such a fun addition.
I love it when she used the Frenchman as bait, the one guy. She cut off his leg.
Yeah.
Right? She cut off his leg.
Yeah. She used that thing like the Predator's like thing.
Yeah, she's just like, you're a monster, so I'm not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You're going to be my bait, and that's it.
Oh, and the fucking rats.
Fuck you.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
All the rats eating his leg. And speaking of that orange flower, when she gives it to the trapper who can speak Comanche and gives her the gun, and he's like laying there, like pretending to be dead, and Predator steps on his leg, not even thinking, and the guy like jumps up and screams, and then bam, his little blades come out. I say little blades, his big blades come out.
Heck,
that was fun. And then even the climax, the fight between Naru and Predator was just awesome. You get a little throwback, like setting up the spikes made out of wood along the tree.
There's nothing wrong. I have no problem with a movie if they want to do like a big blowout like finale. Like go for it. If it fits the movie, go for it. But like the thing with Predator movies is I feel like there's always this sort of, is it horror? Is it sci-fi? Is it like action? And I feel like the way that they approach this ending sort of like rooted it strictly subjectively in horror, where it's like this very intimate, you know, it's totally based off of dread and tension. And as opposed to like, it could have easily been like this shootout or something, or like a full on like battle. But I love the approach that they took with this because it was, I don't know, scary. It was just tense and like, I feel like that's harder to pull off, I feel like, in these kinds of like big franchise movies. So I appreciated that. Right.
Absolutely. And then she cuts off his fucking head and brings it back.
Oh, yeah. That's the reason I was asking about his blood, is because that visual of that line across her face is so cool.
Yes.
It just is so awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to see people do that for Halloween. That's going to be such an epic costume.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just going to dress up as the severed, the decapitated head of the Predator. Like just
just wear black and then just
with
have
like
the
little
Predator
feet
head.
coming out the bottom.
Yeah.
My little arms. You just see my hands like out of the ears.
You need to get like two little pieces of like, make two legs out of like fabric that just like hang out from under your chin. Or like, and like you're dressed in all black, but you have like the legs hanging out, the arms.
And I'll have like a little like recorder that plays sound effects from like those old cartoons, like whenever I walk.
Well, hey, do you guys want to talk about our favorite reveals?
Sure,
I already know Danny's.
The first time we see the Predator.
Yeah,
that's my favorite. The first time we see the Predator being dropped off. Just a great intro. Great reveal.
Mine is when this goes back to like the Native Americans and how crazy it would have been to see all that stuff. So my favorite one is when his suit malfunctions and they're that group of Native, after they like get her and try to take her back to village, and and he's slowly. It just shows him slowly because his suit's getting his things all fucked up, and then they're all like, "What the fuck?"
And that's like the first time that we see him without his invisibility.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's like we see a silhouette a few times, but that's the first time we see
that
him.
whole sequence is fantastic.
Yeah,
that's a good pick.
Mm-hmm. And some of those guys hold their own against him for a while.
Yeah.
That's what I like. There's no like real like red shirts in this movie. They just like are skilled. They're badasses,
right.
Whether you like them or not, whether they're like douchebags or not.
Mm-hmm.
They all could stand a chance. But the real hero is the dog. So.
Yeah.
Oh, when she's like at the end, when she yells like fetch, I was like, oh, first of all, like adorable. But then it helps her kill the predator. I was like, this is the best finale ever.
Yeah, it was good. I think mine, and like I'll be a Danny today. I don't know if this counts, but I think mine is when he's revealed to the wolf.
Yeah.
Just in that feeling, like the wolf can't even like really see him. I would think because it's got the invisibility, and he just attacks him. That was just a great scene. And like you kind of, the camera goes through and you see the wolf through him, whatever. And then it goes to his right side and then his big claws come out.
So cool.
That was fun.
Oh, that's a good pick.
But you know what we didn't mention real quickly? I want to talk about this. That overhead shot when they're running through the grass.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And the predators like gaining on them.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah, you just see the his grass move.
I made a
him.
note about this that I would really be totally okay and very happy, like to the point that I would want to champion some nominations this year during award season specifically for cinematography and score. Because those are like the two elements especially that just like really landed with me, that I was like, that's what like pushed it to a different level where I was like, oh, this is like a classic, like, because everything is just so polished. And there's something about cinematography and the music specifically in a movie that I feel like is like, that's the thing. That's what edges it out over other movies. And they did it so well here.
Oh, absolutely. It was great. I mean, those landscape shots were incredible. The very
so pretty
opening shot, it's like dawn and there's like pine trees and a river and it's just like gorgeous. And like right when that comes on, you're like, okay, this is going to be a fucking beautiful movie.
Like I'm in good hands. I can release my fears and my stress about a new sequel.
But that overhead shot in the grass, it was almost like a shark. Yeah. It was almost like a shark attack, like underwater, just like coming at you like faster than you can move.
Very similar to, it's funny, speaking of shark, is also Spielberg, but in Lost World Jurassic Park, when the raptors are coming in on the guys in the field. Oh, it's very similar, except obviously in this one, the only reason why it looks like that, you're getting like the ripples is because the predator's invisible.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. Same effect, but still just like so effective. Like you don't lose anything, even though they've kind of done something similar.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
That's what we call an homage.
They're like, guys, we're throwing it back to Lost World Jurassic Park.
Yeah. The classic.
Well, now it's time for a segment that I like to call The Real Monster.
Run, run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man.
You're a monster.
I'm not the monster here. You are. You and the rest of that fairy tale trash poisoning my perfect world. Now tell me, where are the others?
Eat me.
You guys, it was so hard to find a real monster in this movie.
Oh, I have one, and it is the winner for this episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go last because I want to.
Okay.
Because it's there's nothing personal, but like this will beat out everyone's choice.
Okay.
And I'm gonna stand by that.
My choice for real monster of prey was whatever person it was that kept kicking her awake in the morning. I was like,
yeah, I was thinking
dude.
Nobody can just sleep in this movie.
Yeah.
That's
and it's
so
like,
funny.
just like nudge her on the shoulder, like fucking bend over and nudge her on the shoulder. Like, why do you gotta kick her?
Or maybe say her name.
Yeah. How hard is that?
Like blowing her ear or
Naru,
something.
wake up. It's time to go gather. Fucking kicks.
Set an alarm.
Casey, what do you have?
Bears.
Bears. Okay. Bears.
That's fair.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
That's fair.
Danny, what do you got? What's the winner?
The definitive real monster of this movie is whoever whoever decided to not give Prey a theatrical release.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for everyone involved with this movie, and I feel bad for the audience, including us, for not getting the opportunity to see this in theaters.
Well, and that's the thing. Danny, did you get the newest Fangoria?
Yes.
The editor's note in the new issue of Fangoria is all about this very point. And Phil Noble Jr. makes a good point about if this was released in a theater, like he's trying to find like the silver lining of this not coming to a theater. It wouldn't be as big of a success if it was not on streaming, even though that seems kind of like backwards. It was able to reach such a larger audience because it was on streaming.
That's a great point. I mean, I was on the phone with my mom the other day and she's like, have you heard of this movie called Prey? I'm going to check it out on Hulu. I was like, yeah, fucking Predator.
Yeah, Mom, I have.
Yeah, Ma, I freaking know it. Okay.
But then, he says like with the success of this, the next one will be in a theater.
Right.
That's a great point.
And it's just a really good, it's a really good little article that he has in there.
I have done zero research into like the success or failures of films that are, well, I guess no, that's not true. I guess it's case by case, but I was going to say movies that are released simultaneously in theater and on streaming. And I guess Halloween did great, but I guess it would do great because it's Halloween.
Yeah.
But
I forgot they did that.
Listeners, next week we're going to do an in-depth, comprehensive breakdown on the budgets and box office returns of films that are released simultaneously in theaters and on streaming. Our next episode will include 27 movies, and then from there, an additional 27, and that is what our podcast will be from now on.
Wow, that's news to me. Thank you, Danny.
I'm out.
I'm out. Me too, actually. I was actually going to say I'm using this episode to resign from this podcast.
Well, do you guys have anything else to add about Prey?
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had just so much fun. Everyone was talking it up before I had watched it.
Oh, yeah.
And that got me nervous.
Yeah, me too.
Because my expectations were pretty high.
Right.
But they were met.
But yeah, they were met. And it's funny. Every now and then this happens. We're like, you ever like watch a movie that's so fun that you're like, oh, I can't wait to watch this again someday. That's how I was. I don't know what it is. There's just something about some movies. And this one was that. And I'm looking forward to watching it again. I mean, it's literally like this is climbing to my top number one favorite Predator movie ever made.
Yep.
Freaking
Agreed.
Great job. So much fun.
It is great. Yeah.
It's like an onion. It's like a Predator flavored onion. Or it's like an onion flavored Predator. So many layers.
Yeah. It's like a Funyun.
It's like
it's an onion, but it's fun, and it's not an onion.
Well, okay. That's it. That's all we have for Prey and this episode of How I Met Your Monster. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at I Met Your Monster and on Facebook and Instagram at How I Met Your Monster. Where can our listeners find you two on social media?
I am on Instagram at WolfMotherCasey.
And I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Danny Salem. That's just my name. DANNYSALEMME. That's 2 M's like the candy. Melt in your butt, not in your hands.
Wonderful. And you can find me on social media at Zach Winsick. And in preparation for the release of Pearl, make sure to join us next episode for our coverage of Ty West's X.
I hope you're horny.
I hope you're horny.
I'm always horny. Is it rated X? Or is it rated R?
It's rated R.
Okay, that's fine. I can use my imagination.
You don't have to use your imagination. There's enough.
Yeah, you don't.
There's enough.
Okay.
So that is an episode that you don't want to miss, especially if you're like a pubescent boy.
Especially if you're horny.
If you're horny, we got the goods. That's our tagline.
That's right.
You're
If
horny,
you're
we got
horny-
the goods.
No context necessary.
And on that note, thank you all for listening. Now go meet some monsters.